Combustion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Been running the game with my team making plays. Talking 80, my G's, wanting jewels in this place. Surrounded by dogs, get the quarterback safe. I'm the one with the plans, they gon' do what I say. The game is not over, we don't celebrate in the end zone. We don't got no time in the wait. Ain't trying run down, we don't premeditate. We just go and get to it, we got them on skates. If the game go into overtime, kicking the overdrive, we gon' be first at the finish line. Play looking full, but I finish mine. Can I get second? We gon' line up like it's dinner time. We put in work till we get us a ring. Super Bowl season, we running the scene. Ain't trying to home of the realest that breathe. Keep your face down when you talk to the king.
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the H-Town Rundown. This is your boy AD, and I got my co-host in the building. We got Clayton, and we got Jules. How's everybody doing on this wonderful Tuesday night?
I'm doing well.
No complaints, brother. No complaints.
I hope y'all staying dry. It's a little wet out there.
A little light and a little wet.
A little bit.
Yeah, it's about to pull down. But here we are in the smack dab of the beginning of the offseason for the Houston Texans, and we're here to talk about what's next. We started off, me and Jules talked about, potential, draft and, moves and things that could be made and all that type of stuff. But we're here to talk about, really dig deep into, have an honest conversation with Nick Caserio. Clayton had some conversation on Twitter this week. We'll talk about that too. The haircut that took over Texas Twitter today. But Clayton had some talks about Nick Caserio as the GM this past week. So we'll touch on that. What's up, Yvonne? And we'll talk about the coaching staff and the controversy. We talked about it last week, the controversy of the minuscule position coach of quarterback coach. Insignificant is the word that Jules used. And how that kind of exploded. And then, in general, how can the coaching staff improve? What moves can be made with the coaching staff? In the front office, what can they do to improve on this season as we look back and look forward at the same time? But, I'll start with the biggest news of the day. Like I, just alluded to in what I just said. The haircut that swept Texans Nation. Those that follow me on Twitter and the Twitter Spaces, I said this, I think, right after the playoff loss. We were on Spaces, and shout out to the group chat. We were on the Spaces, and I was like, man, it wouldn't surprise me. CJ lock in, and he come back next season with the dreads cut. And lo and behold, CJ Stroud cut those dreads, man. So I just want to hear y'all initial thoughts on it. And then I'll kind of go from there. I'll share a little tweet or whatever as well.
What you got, Clayton?
Shoot, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't. I think you know what it is, man. I'm gonna connect it to him declining the Pro Bowl also. News broke before that in fact, yes, CJ was one of the quarterbacks who denied an invitation, which led to Shador and now Joe Flacco, right, replacing the previous three starters and Josh Allen and Justin Herbert and Drake May, right? So if I take all things wrapped up and consider that, then yeah, I can make the case. We can make the case that, this is a sign that CJ maybe is locking in and he's changing his priorities. And it's like a like a personal change first and foremost, before it hits the field. And sometimes that's where it starts. But that's all I got. Outside of that, I mean, it's a chop. It's kind of is what it is, I guess. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not trying to be mean when I say this. I have to just get used to his head with not hair on it, because whenever he would do press conferences, it's like sometimes it's hard to not look at his forehead. And now that the dreads are not now that the dreads are not there, it's like, dang, bro. It's like
he ain't got a forehead, he got a fire.
I ain't want to say it, bro, but it's like, dang, man, it's gonna be, it's gonna be an adjustment. But look, he looks good, man. He's doing his thing. So hey, hats off to him, or helmets off in this case. But
Jules.
Man, I can understand why he might have cut his hair. There's a lot of times when people cut their hair when they have long hair, dreads, locks, um, just hair down to their shoulders, and it's time for a change, or they feel like it's time to mature, or they just want to put less time in getting their hair done ourselves, and they just put more time and just focus on what they're going in. Sometimes people believe that's it's a sign of growing up, or you just ready to make that next step into adulthood, and cutting your hair is one of those things. So I can see where that might be a narrative. I can see a narrative where it's not really that important because if you're good, you're good. If you're locked in, you're locked in. It doesn't matter about your hair. But if he feels this is a step for him to do to be more focused in or to change the narrative of why he feels or who he is or to be the man he to be, the player to be, it is what it is. So I mean, this is man's personal hair. Does not his hair don't throw the ball. His hair don't throw interceptions. His hair don't fumble the ball. His hair don't make the right play. It doesn't read the right direction defense. It doesn't hand the ball off to Woody Marks. It does not really, as I said about the quarterback position, it's significant. But right now, as hungry as we are as football fans, any news about the number one person in our franchise, we're gonna talk about. So I understand it is what it is. It's young man just cut his hair for whatever reason he wanted, and that's it.
Sherrod said maybe he just wanted a haircut. I'm not gonna do this all summer.
Hey, I'm with
Um,
you, bro.
there has been a lot of, I don't know if I'm using the right word, conjecture. Um, May somebody correct me. I may be using the wrong word, but there's been a lot of conversation about the reason why he's cutting his hair. Some are saying that he was bullied into cutting his hair.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Um, that maybe, he just, I think it was one comment here, he was having a midlife crisis. Um, you know, at 24 years old. Um, all of these things that were said about CJ and his hair and him not being mentally strong, they just wanted to kind of add on to this point that was a part of him, you know, cutting his hair. But I mean, it looked like he was extremely happy cutting his hair.
real quick, can I say something real quick about that?
Go ahead, Clay.
Oh, okay. What? And honestly, no, put that back up. Put that back up. This is kind of what I was gonna say. Like CJ's at the point now where he can't win no matter what he does, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Like this man could go walk a dog, he could go get some groceries, he could buy a different car, he could do a lot of stuff, and to a certain degree, it's kind of par for the course. It's kind of a compliment because with his meteoric rise after his rookie season and now being going into year 4 with expectations, it is a sign of a compliment that hey man, look, you're on people's radar and people have expectations, right? And look, fair or unfair, everything he does now is under a microscope, right? So it's like he can't win for losing for certain people. So this is one of those he's going to have to, you got to do it for yourself, right? Like of course do it for your faith in the Lord, of course, but you got to do it for yourself, right? Like Jules was saying, as part of like manhood growing up, bro. You, hey man, listen, bro. Everybody not gonna like you. Everybody not gonna like your hair. Everybody's not gonna like you walk, talk, step, whatever. Do it for you, bro. Win for you, and maybe that'll help him, fortify whatever kind of place was lacking. But I just want to put it out there. Like he's at that place now. He can't win, regardless of what he does.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Clayton. I mean, like I said, he walked the dog the wrong way. All people call him soft. He fly the airplane a certain that way. He sleeps a certain way. He gonna call soft, and he has no one to blame but himself. And like I said, I'm the number one CJ. I wanted him out to high school and college, everything else. When you give people narratives and you give the internet, repeat that. When you give the narrative to the internet on anything they can use against you to put you down, they're going to do it. You didn't gave The fan base who do not like you, who do not think you're smart enough, who gonna use the S2 against you, who gonna use your light skin against you, who gonna use your Christ against you, who's gonna use whatever you how you walk and you live your life against you. You gave them three examples of how you're not the person to warrant to be a franchise guy or the big money. But you crying on TV because Tank Dell got hurt in the ultimate man's game. You gave up 10 turnovers. So you already in that situation where people are going to see you differently now. They're going to forget that they're going to forget everything you did 3 years, 3 years. They're going to forget that your playoff record is 3-3. They're going to forget that the reason why you lost the last two playoff series wasn't because of the offense. It was because the team was better. When you got beat the first year, it was probably the Ravens. The second year, it was Kansas City. Both teams are better than you are as a whole. But they're gonna forget all the Browns touchdowns, all the bombs that you threw to Neil Collins, everything you did in the wild card rounds is done because of 10 turnovers. He did to himself, and now he just gave anybody that wants to put nails in his coffin or chink in his armor. That's what you're gonna do. And you cutting your hair, they're gonna bully you and say you did it for what reason, which is crazy. This young man just cut his hair, but
Hey,
going forward, he got to live with this. He got to have a harder shell. He got if he gonna live biblically, because Jesus did the same thing.
mm,
Well, and that's ultimately it, right? Like you can't people please and serve the Lord at the same time, right? That's the biggest thing. But you can't people please and excel in your profession, with like I said, Jules, like at some point, man, if you're going to do it, then just do it. But all the doubting yourself and all the being overly concerned about what people say, like people say having rabbit ears, like the kind of passivity and subtle stuff that you do, like, hey man, listen, you gotta, like Jules said, you gotta own where you are right now. It's on you, right? Not the defense, not special teams. This is on you. This is about as much of stepping in it as you've seen CJ do in his 3 years. Um, you know, he's been at his lowest place now. So now, how do you respond? And that's it. That's the final thing. You will shut everybody up with results, not a haircut, not denying the Pro Bowl, winning games. And
There
sadly,
you go.
it won't even be in a regular season. And I'm saying
Correct.
that for that's my expectation. You could go 13-4. I don't care. Like as long as that 0-7 becomes 1-7, I'm cool, right? Like 0-8 not gonna cut it. And for some who corrected me on the media space, right, and said, "Oh, well, technically it's 0-3, 0-4." Okay, well, 0-4 is not gonna cut it. It got to be 1-3, right? It got to be you getting this team further than it ever has before. That's the goal now, right? Not 10-7, not 11-6, not 12-5, not AFC South Championship, none of that. And I hate that I will not be able to enjoy it as much because of this. But in the back of my mind, I can't help but think like, okay, but now what? So
And like I
hey,
said, and cut you off and pivot on him is like we seen this show before. This is CJ is not a unicorn when it comes to a quarterback or a player in the playoffs having a horrible playoff series and can't come back from it. We seen on both sides. Josh Allen is on that same situation. Justin Herbert's on the same situation. Lamar Jackson's on the same situation. You've seen Sam Darnold in the playoffs. He had a horrifying 2000 in the 2024 playoff series where they didn't even want to re-sign him and went with a quarterback who damn near tore his ACL, who was 100% until they cut him off in the free agency.
nine
We've seen this before.
got this
So you
man
either side of the
mentally
coin you are either you're gonna come back or he's not.
look,
got
I'm
this man
cool, and
mentally fired.
I know some people like Sherrod gonna be upset, but y'all, I don't think y'all realize the magnitude of this haircut and him and CJ Stroud going, changing up his style.
Shoot.
CJ
Magnitude.
Stroud is going from sitting in a beautician chair getting his hair retied by a woman, speaking good nothings in his ear.
I can't stand y'all.
Now he's going from that to now he's about to be in a barbershop chair, and he's about to hear what the
Oh,
barbers are saying in the barbershop talk,
oh my goodness.
he's about to be abreast of that on a regular basis. Whereas again, when you getting your retwist and your retie and all this stuff like that, your head is in the hands of a woman.
Oh damn!
And
Now
now,
you opened a whole
I'm
different
about to
narrative
say,
of
and
AD
now,
why
about
he
to get
and
us
you
all.
saw
heard it here first.
About to get
It
us
raised
may
by his
sound like
taken
y'all
off
like
mom.
air.
AD,
Oh damn,
that
man!
this
You
is a
just making
blessing.
it worse, buddy.
This is a blessing for CJ Stroud um going forward, man. So
He
y'all
need
just accept it.
AD. He need to take it all away. If we're gonna do that, he need to go ahead and play dominoes too. Go ahead and sit down, play
I don't
some
even
ball.
think CJ know how to play dominoes on tape.
Play. Listen, look, get you some bones, play some dominoes, play some
I don't.
spades.
He need that,
You
man.
know,
Um,
get you a
he need
partner
that.
about 50 plus.
He need that in his life. I've said it before and I said it again. And it's Black History Month, so I don't want to do the black man like that. But his daddy being incarcerated most of his life did not help CJ Stroud.
Oh dang,
Um,
you about to get us
I'm
shut
not.
off.
so
I'm not touching that. I'm keeping straight on
It
football
seemed
and
like a
Texan
connect.
related. That's all I'm gonna keep it on.
um, nobody again. Thank you, Caesar. Nobody said nothing when Jackson Smith and Jigba cut his dreads.
Was he
This up,
cold? That's why he dunked on you. That's
um, Barry said, "I'm happy CJ look happy." I think he was grinning from ear to ear.
sure was.
As soon as I forgot about Cora, she wants to be the main character again. Um, yeah, y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe because I'm pretty sure this nugget that I just gave is about to go a little,
I mean,
about to
look,
take
Nate.
some legs and
Look,
probably about to take some
Joe
legs
Burrow
and
got his haircut
bro.
yesterday.
Listen,
Last year, same situation.
bro. Warren Moon
you say who?
advocated for him. All
Joe
right.
Burrow got his haircut a while back, and it's
Did Joe
tough,
Burrow
tough.
have dreads? Did Joe Burrow have
He had
like
he had
long
Frosted
hair?
long hair.
tips.
He was
He
out
put
there.
he put the Timberlake in.
Bro,
Yeah.
that's a white man though.
Why are we doing the black and white thing? It's the quarterback to quarterback. That's why we should keep it on football.
I just want to cause a little controversy.
A
Um,
little. It's a little.
but other than that, man, I mean that's been the topic. So hopefully
The
this
non-topic.
this is a blessing for CJ Stroud in many ways. Um and I'm pretty sure we'll hear some scriptures behind it. We'll hear some, you know, faith based narrative behind it from CJ Stroud. I'm waiting on the actual Instagram post or Twitter post from CJ Stroud that'll have all, that'll go along with that video that we were watching. So hopefully we'll see what goes on with it. But if we know CJ, we know that it's some faith base behind him cutting his dreads. Um, and we'll see. We'll see. We're just waiting on it. But again, like Bear said, he look happy. If CJ's happy, he got his best friend back. We'll see how he plays next year. But any last thoughts before?
Just digging deep, ain't you? Just digging deep,
I'm
ain't
talking
you?
about put down the shovel.
Yeah, just put down, just
Um,
digging
I
deep.
mean,
The best friend thing.
come
You
on.
lay you laid it real thick over there, homeboy. Try to keep it on both sides of the curve.
look,
You can't. I get it.
Hey,
look,
CJ Stroud is bound to go up. You
look,
know,
it can't get worse. Well, I can't say that. I said that after Pittsburgh, and it got worse.
yeah, it got worse.
Uh,
It always.
I would just say CJ has the backing of his teammates, of course, family, certain fans. Now Hall of Famer Warren Moon, right, former Oiler great, NFL Hall of
Mhm.
Famer. He mentors CJ. He said recently to was it USA Today, but anyway, he said that he believes CJ is going to bounce back. He's highly confident, right, highly motivated. Now he did mention the team has to do their part to build around him, of course, but he said, he believes CJ can bounce back. So, you
Same thing
know,
Steve Smith said.
yeah, right. So it's like I'll take Warren Moon. I'll put that, kind of in my bank somewhere. I'll hold on to it, hopefully. But like you said, AD, I mean, I know you were, being funny, but in all seriousness, though, no, you kind of right. Like it's like a toughening up period has to happen. Like regardless of the whys of it, CJ has carried himself as not, and I'm not saying we're trying to read into his character, but he has carried himself in a very much of a coddled kind of dismissive of things, kind of in my own kind of bubble. Everything's all good all the time. Again, when he hit the LeBron James quote right after what happened against the Patriots and said the sun's gonna come up and I'm all this stuff, no one was upset. Like no one should be upset at like him having a positive demeanor about things, but it's more so like the self-awareness, the understanding of the world around you, right? Like that kind of thing. Your ownership of who you are and the fact that not doing it, not doing it, nope, not doing it.
I
It's the
am not.
fact that
Keep it going.
Stroud is the
Go.
CEO of the
There you go.
offense, right? He's the
Yeah.
he's the coach on the field. Like that has to be more of his mentality, and not it's CJ and the Texans. Like no, it's the Texans with CJ Stroud, right? You leading the ship on the field. So again, as long as this is leading to more ownership of himself, then yes, I trust that things should work out. Of course, if the team does their part, but yeah, I ain't touching that though. Nope, ain't touching that.
Yeah. It's like people say when old linemen, defense linemen get into the league, you cut your baby fat. Hopefully, let's see the hair is baby fat. Cutting off to lean to what he got going forward. If that's the narrative everybody want to run with.
Mm.
He's got a man up. That's it. Just freaking man up.
I mean, that's what his dad would have told him if he was there.
Man
Twenty
up, bro.
20 minutes. We spent 20 minutes on this non-topic
Jeez,
football
man.
related. We spent
Hey,
21 minutes on non-football
it's
conversation.
controversial. It gets the people talking.
Because the
Um,
people talk about it. That's why it's uncontroversial. It ain't nothing that got nothing to do with sports or the Texas drama.
um,
You gonna get us picked up by
so,
Bleacher Report.
but yeah, man, look, that's where we are. But I mean, I think you talked about it and you mentioned it. What Steve Smith said, what Warren Moon said about building the team around him, and I think that leads right into the conversations that the honest conversations we need to have about the team builders and the GM Nick Casario and D'Amico Ryans. Um, so we need to kind of get on that, that part, and let's talk about it.
Mm,
And we'll start with Nick Casario because Clayton, you had some things to say about Nick Casario this week.
what I say?
Well, you talked about Nick Casario. You've been on about him building the offensive line and
Mm.
how lackluster he's been, and about that.
Oh yeah.
And and then again, this is in the team building phase about with CJ. Um, what do they need to do? And I think it all starts with the offensive line in the trenches. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Nick Casario and just an honest assessment of Nick Casario?
Sure. So everything I'm about to say is in the context of the world of the NFL that does not make sense, right? Because I can give you real world scenario and I can give you NFL expectations, right? Nick Casario on the positive has helped you to turn around this franchise in a way that few others ever have in NFL history, right? You go from a bottom feeding team to now looks like perennial, you know, Pro Bowl, All Pro having team who's dominated the division and you back to back to back playoff runs and all these things, right? You've built layers and layers of players. Like you got, all this good going for you, right? You got skill position player on skill position player. You can't miss on DBs. You're not missing on receivers, right? As far as we know right now, you got your quarterback and all the stuff. But specific to the things that have gotten you beat time after time after time, right? Your offense has underperformed, and that includes coaching staff, right? Now, again, we have all these debates over whose call it was for Kaylee and all this stuff, whatever. Specific to Casario, right? As much as I'm giving him credit, and rightfully so, he's earned that, right? He's turned the team around, salary cap is flexible, got all this stuff you built for the future. Okay, cool. But the specific misses that Casario is responsible for, namely the offensive line, namely not upgrading the running back room when he could, it reeks of somebody who, as a lot of general managers are kind of known for this, they're so focused on the future and flexibility and all these things, which are good, but you miss windows because you lack urgency for the now. And again, this is just me talking, ignorant, random media guy. I've seen GMs fired for less, right? And there's a reason why I said, 0-8 won't get it done. And a lot of people said, well, most of those aren't Casarios, it's really 0-4. Okay, that's fine. My point still remains goose egg and whatever, after what we've experienced the last 3 years, back to back to back, you're hitting a wall somewhere. And if you look at Casario's whole demeanor, what makes this a harder conversation is Casario comes off as very dismissive, like I know what I'm doing, like that kind of thing. And D'Amico's kind of the same way, but we're not on him, right? So my thing with Casario, I told Jules this earlier today. I feel like this is a circumstance where Casario has no choice but to kind of pick almost against his own tendencies, against his own preferences, because his tendencies have led him to do things like trading out of advantageous situations and gifting players like Jordan Thomas and others to other teams, right? Missing on a Kyle Hamilton in favor of a Kenyon Green and stuff like that. Wait, Kenny Green?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, so these are the things that you can no longer do, right? And it starts with the offensive line, which he seems very offensive line averse. It seems like he bristles at the notion of like actually investing like consistently at these premium positions. He's done it everywhere else. And I get it. You can say, oh, we tried with Kenyon. Not really, right? Oh, he got Blake Fisher from what, Notre Dame. Yeah, but you didn't get all right. Like you're not investing at the tippy top of the market at the places where you need to, and you can tell. Like if you compare the defensive investment to the offensive investment, he's not bargain bin shopping on the defense. He's done it on the offense, and that's what keeps getting you beat. So anyway, long story short, case closed on this. I am of the mindset, I'll plant my flag here. If the Texans make no advancements after this year, and you're 0-8, 0-4, however you want to phrase the semantics, I question Nick Casario's job security after next season, because you can't tell me that you can hit this wall time and time and time and time again and be fine with it, right? Especially if his attitude towards I'm smarter than you does not change. Because then how do you trust him to make the right decision if given the chance now, he still won't? Right. So that's kind of where I'm at with Nick Casario. I'm giving him all the credit, but I'm also saying in the world of the NFL where a lot of stuff doesn't make sense, GMs have been fired for less. So I'm just saying.
Let me
Jules,
piggyback off that real quick. One,
I got
uh,
something on that too.
I think Nick Casario has failed overall on the offensive side of the balls ever since he got here. Um, been not establishing a veteran type OC at any stage, and at any stage he's been here, to backdoor mediocre offensive minds throughout this whole situation since he's been here. We haven't yet to bring in anyone who's considered one of the best offensive minds,
Mm-mm.
either fired or replaced or anything else. It's all been guys who had to prove it and try to prove that they're good, or they've been heard they've been good, or they have the talents to be good, but they have yet to hire anybody who actually done the job on a high level for whatever reason. You said that he don't do basement deals for defense. He does on the defensive lineman. He doesn't go for the high paid defense linemen, defense tackles that D'Amico Ryans wants. He gets these guys he can get in who has some kind of talent, some kind of focus that D'Amico wants, and D'Amico coaches them up. Or guess what? The system allows them to flourish.
Mm-hmm.
They have brought in 6 or 8 defense tackles from young, old, big, small, whatever, and they have flourished in the system. He has yet to have a offensive system flourish since he's gotten here, and he has not helped the situation by not hiring the right coaches, drafting the right O linemen, or even developing the right offensive superstars. As bad as good as Nico Khan is, that is your best offensive weapon you have gotten since you've been here. He's been the only productive thing other than CJ since he's been there. You can't name anybody else who's been a Pro Bowler by him hand picking anybody since he's been here.
So I'm gonna piggyback on that, and we're joined by EXO. Shout out EXO.
Hey.
I'm gonna piggyback on both of y'all, and I'm going to say that effort was put in on both sides,
Mm-mm. I disagree
and
bigly.
you can say it hasn't, and I would say that it is. And the reason why I say that it is that look at how many positions that you've drafted or players you've drafted on the offensive side of football since he's been here. It's not the lack of trying. When it comes, if you want to go offensive line, you've drafted how many offensive line in the first 3 rounds? Over his tenure, what, maybe five?
So he's,
Yeah.
oh, you say what, in the first couple rounds or in
Yeah, in the
general?
first three. In general, he's drafting offensive lineman every
Seven.
year.
Well, 2021 he did. From 2022 on, he's drafted 2 O linemen. I want
I
to
mean,
say
how many draft picks did he have in 2021? He
that's
only
what I'm
had like
saying.
So
Like,
he
so
only had
so
like
so
3 picks in
no, I,
2021.
I, I know. I'm just saying for the,
Juice was second round pick.
Yeah,
Ursu was second round pick. Blake Fisher was a second round pick.
yeah.
Uh,
King Green
King
was the first
Green was a
round.
first round
first
pick,
round pick.
Yeah,
Fisher
and
was second. I
I
think
believe
Juice
that
was second rounder.
yeah.
Yeah, Juice.
Juice.
who he traded up for.
Yeah.
Well, that I think that's the thing. Like, so it's not just where he picked; it's the context of how we got there and who he picked while there. Like, and the fact that he's never traded up to get that guy. It's always been like the convenience of either I want, I'm gonna trade back and, oh, hey, look, I'm gonna leave here with something, or it's you're taking the second or third best option where you are. And that's the mentality that I believe has to stop if this team is going to get any further. Like, you got to go out and take it. It can't just keep, be convenient or like, I want to feel smart. Like, no, go be the same kind of aggressive that has won the Eagles a championship recently, that keeps the Chiefs winning, that the Patriots did. Like, you got to go out and get what you want. And Casario's more so like, hey, look, I'm so smart. I'm gonna just sit back and I'm gonna play my game and I'm gonna get who I get.
But
Can't do that.
you doing that, but
So
you haven't entrusted somebody who could run this to be an offensive system since he
Mm-hmm.
got here.
when I'm talking about building, I understand that point about the offensive coach. First of all, the OC when D'Amico got here was D'Amico Ryan's choice.
Yeah, his fault
D'Amico
too.
Ryan's, huh?
It's on
Right.
him. And
Yeah,
but a stronger GM would have said, bro, he don't have no credentials.
stronger GM. First of all, Jules, you realize, and let's be real and honest, and this is why we having an honest conversation. Going into that off season, regardless of how strong a GM you are, the previous 2 years that he had with David Culley and
Correct.
Lovie Smith
Correct.
eliminated any kind of favor or any kind of, I'm gonna put my foot down
Correct.
situation he had.
You
That
Yeah,
eliminated it
excuse me.
all.
No,
Hold on,
yeah.
AD. Hold on. Unrelated news. Hold on. Is the hard news to Cleveland real?
I don't care.
Wait, but
Why does that matter?
Well, look, I'm just saying it's Houston, man. People clip this stuff all the
but
time. I'm just saying, I'm trying to get us in the clip.
Man,
But yeah,
James
so
Harden to the Cleveland Browns. I mean the Cleveland Cavaliers. Wow.
so AD.
They not gonna win. They not winning if it
hey, but we
happens.
in the clip
Whatever.
though. Hey, I
But
bet
see,
you in the clip though.
so
We in the
AD
compilation.
to piggyback what you're saying is I do have to disagree that he couldn't override D'Amico Ryan's is the reason why is because of his failures previously because he was not a strong GM.
So
He don't know how to do the job correctly.
no, I think so. First of all, let's bag it up again. There was a plan in place, and the plan would have worked. The original plan was David Culley for 2 years
But it is
until
it okay.
let
I
me.
mean, you're gonna keep making excuses for him. We
I'm
can't
So
not
keep living
what?
in
make,
the
I'm not
past.
making it. I'm
You're
not
making
making.
excuses for him. We
Well,
can't
It's
no,
keep
hold on,
it's
saying
hold on,
the
Jules.
plan,
I
the
would
plan,
ask,
the
what
plan.
was
It
the?
didn't work. It hasn't worked.
Hold on, Jules. So fill me in. So what was like the plan? Like, what would working look with David
the
Culley?
plan was to okay. You're in. First of all, you get a job
Okay.
where it's and excuse my language, it's a total clusterfuck. Where your franchise quarterback has requested a trade,
Mm-hmm.
and he has all the scandals going on, and he's almost made himself almost untradeable at a point
Sure.
because of the news that kept coming and kept going and kept going. So your hand is tied behind your back then. Then you also had the JJ Watt trade request in the midst of all of that. And you had a situation where the team was floundering and your roster was old. You had to redo your whole roster. You had to do all that. That's the situation he came into. And I'm not gonna say I'm not using it as an excuse. It was a terrible situation.
He chose the
And
job.
damn, Jules, let
He
me let
chose
me
the
finish.
job.
Let me finish. So again, I'm not making an excuse for him. I'm just saying I'm painting a picture for the plan. The plan was I'm going to get a transitional coach that if when I hire him, he's a first of all, David Culley was known around the league as a great motivator and
Oh, here we go again.
somebody Jules, come on now. Come on now.
You thought it's the same thing. What you're doing, you regurgitating,
I'm
you
painting the
regurgitating
picture.
everything that Nick Casario said to us when they hired the dude in the first place, which was a bad idea in the first place.
So I'm going again. I'm painting the picture because Clayton asked because he didn't know.
Well, because the thing is, I'm saying I'm taking the place of the casual fan who, new Texans fan,
Yeah.
right?
So
Who just got
again,
here.
I'm just painting the picture. I'm painting. Let me finish.
Yeah.
Let me finish.
I'll be
Because Jules
quiet.
gonna Jules gonna interrupt every 5 seconds because he don't agree with none of it. Um, but I'm just painting the picture. He came into a terrible situation. He said, I'm going to hire a transitional coach who's a great motivator. At the end of the day, we can't tank. So we're going to find a coach who can motivate the guys to be as competitive as possible. We're going to revamp this roster. Nick Casario came in, literally washed and rinsed the whole freaking roster, almost from top to bottom. Um, from Bill O'Brien era to however he made a way to get rid of the only two leftover or hangovers from the Bill O'Brien era at that time, or well, three, was Kaimi Fairbairn, Laramie Tunsil, and Titus Howard. Almost everybody else was brand new. And I may miss a handful here and there. But it's just the point of he did what he could with a transitional coach. The plan was to keep Cully here for 2 years. And there was a
Yeah, all I need you to do is suck for 2 years, give me some high picks, and we can
there
move
you go.
forward with our new coach.
There you go. And that was the original plan. But because in the midst of the middle of the plan with David Culley, there was a situation and a coach named Brian Flores who unexpectedly got fired from the Miami Dolphins, which threw a monkey wrench in the plan. Because now you have a valid coach who was at the time before he did all this craziness that he screwed himself, he was going to be the top head coach candidate on the market. Brian Flores, defensive mastermind, whatever you can say, Patriots ties, whatever, right? Brian Flores comes available. Brian Flores, which in turn forces the Texans to let go of Cully because you can't interview a coach if you got a coach. So you had to let go of Cully. And mind you, Cully was let go very, very late in the process. Like he was the last coach fired
You know
in that
why?
cycle.
Y'all
Huh?
remember why? Because
Yeah.
he was too good at his job. He
They
was
didn't lose
too
enough.
good. It got to a point where boys was about to have an insurrection in the Texas locker room. Who the fuck is
Yeah.
this?
So with with that being said, all of that in turn, then the whole after the Deshaun Watson trade, because we held on to Deshaun Watson for a whole year before we traded him. Then you had the Deshaun Watson trade. You had the Lovie Smith hire because of the Brian Flores fail trade, whatever, and you've revamped the roster again. And this time you had the added picks of the Derek Stingleys, you had the added picks of the Kenyon Greens, you had the added picks of the Jalen Petries, and here we are again. And then you get down and you have to fire Lovey again because you didn't get the number one pick, which is what you wanted. And Lovey Smith, there was a little turmoil between Lovey Smith and Nick Casario because Nick Casario was still on the I want a tank plan, and Lovey Smith was like, I don't want to tank because I'm the head coach, and that's my reputation. And so you go down there, he wins the last game, you get the number two pick instead of the number one pick. We'll. Lovey Smith is fired. Now you have the mantra of being a racist organization because you fired two black head coaches back to back in a row when you were trying to hire a black coach. the first time you fired a black coach, then you hired a black coach the second time you hired a black coach, but you have ill will amongst you're a dumpster fire organization, everything like that. They don't know. Nobody knows what you're doing, whatever, whatever. Get to the point of D'Amico Ryans and Nick Casario was on the chopping block. I don't know if people remember, there was a press conference after Lovie Smith was fired. Nick Casario had a press conference by himself and was damn near crying at the podium,
He looked like
at the
fresh
table.
out of getting chewed. Like he looked fresh out of getting chewed out.
It looked like he was about to lose his job. You about to lose your job. And you telling me that he wasn't a strong GM? No GM could have survived that situation. Period. I don't think any GM would have survived that. Now, if you would have said that should have been when Nick Casario got fired, fine. That should have been the moment that he got fired. But then you put him back in there and you let him roll. Now you're trying to say, oh, he wasn't strong enough. Oh, he didn't this, and that. What can you do when every move I make is just me trying to save my job? Me trying to keep my
Do your
job.
job better. Learn from your mistakes.
He did, and I think he has.
He has it because what you do, what everybody keeps saying, you can't hire another rookie OC after
That's
firing
not
a
his job
rookie
to
OC.
hire the OC. Hold on, yeah, my bad. That's not his job to hire the OC. That's on
Okay,
D'Amico.
all right, all right. I guess we're gonna stay with this Nick Casario thing. It's cool. Y'all can make excuses with Nick Casario. It
I'm
is what
not
it
making
is.
an excuse for Nick Casero, but I'm gonna give him the proper blame. His
He
job
he
was
he
not to
don't he don't
hire
he
his
don't he
staff.
don't he don't. I'm sorry. I'm just the only one. It's cool.
You the only one what?
So
Speak your mind, Jules.
No, I'm good because
Speak your
go
mind.
down
Run your
memory
mouth.
lane to talk about Nick
No, my
Casario and
run your mouth.
how he wasn't set for success and he couldn't do a better job and
I
he
never
was
said
held
that.
in.
nobody said
He
he was
he
set up for
Never
chose the
said
success,
that.
damn job.
but nobody
That's
said
not
he
what I
wasn't.
said.
Nobody
He
said that
chose the
though.
Jules,
job. He
I
knew what he was
said
walking
he
into.
did not choose the OC.
But he
That is D'Amico Ryan's choice
who he
of his
chose Nick
own
Haley.
OCs. Yes.
Okay, all right, it's
So
So
cool.
the
I'm
blame
gonna
goes
say,
on
hold on,
D'Amico.
Exo,
Oh, I'm
hold
done.
on,
Hold
We
on,
good.
because
hold
I
on,
know the
hold
coaching
on,
cycle. I know how this shit
hold
works.
on,
I'm not choosing. You're not the G's not choosing my OC.
hold
Okay,
on.
okay.
I'm gonna say this. If we don't know anything by now, after 3 years with D'Amico Ryans is the HNIC. Like, do you agree with that, Jules?
I'm done with this topic. I ain't got nothing to say.
Like,
No, you ain't got no say.
I
Do you
I
and
agree
that,
don't.
look,
D'Amico runs the show?
I have
Do
nothing to
you or do
say.
you not agree he runs the
I
show or
have
not?
nothing to say.
because we about to get
That
on D'Amico,
that is my take. That
because
is my take. That is my point. I have nothing to say. This.
we are
Because
going to
I can't wait to bring up the D'Amico section because
because
that's my number one
we're
point.
going to get to D'Amico. My point about it is that yes, could Nick Casario have made certain moves? In hindsight, it's always 2020. It's always, yeah, you if you would have did X, Y, and Z, that would have worked. If you would have done this, and that, we would have been better, potentially, right? Hindsight is always that 2020. It's always looks better. The grass always looks greener after the fact when you're on the other side. Um, but in the moment, those decisions were solid decisions. When it comes to drafting, most of those decisions were solid decisions. Yes, people have different likes and different preferences on players and everything like that. Could we have drafted this player? Could we have traded this way? Could we have done this, and that? After all of that, and I go back to the point of it was I don't know if Jules or Clayton said it about as far as the effort put on defense versus offense. Nick Casario has brought in talent. He's made trades. He has, done. I feel like he's put the effort in. I'm gonna say this. I don't think all his decisions were great, but it's not a lack of trying. And I'm not trying to sit up here defend Nick Casario because again, I was on the point of Nick Casario should have been fired when you brought in D'Amico. You should have had a clean slate. I've been on record of saying you should have had a clean slate. Period. Right? And I'm saying it here now, like it's not a lack of effort. You saying we need weapons. What did he do last draft? He drafted 2 receivers and a running back, didn't he? Like 2
And
receivers
a
that
tight end.
and a tight end. No, the tight end was undrafted, I thought.
No, Lachey, he was
Like,
7th rounder, so it
Seven.
virtually undrafted, but 7th rounder.
Okay. But so and again, he drafted offense, right? He drafted weapons and he drafted seemingly a franchise left
Look,
tackle.
and I'll even say this too: if you go back to 2024, you got to give him credit in that he invested on the offense. It didn't work out, but I'm on record as saying like I would have loved to have seen that same Chiefs round with Tank, with Diggs, like fully loaded versus fully loaded. Then what, right? He made attempts. It just you can't control injuries, and that's the only I can say is that he's made attempts. But now it's like with that having not worked, now he's going the other route of like, well, let's just bring some new fresh guys in here, and we got to wait for these other contracts to fall off. I can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, because the Stephon Diggs trade was a great trade, and in that moment, that was an excellent trade.
It was.
What he did after was boneheaded, but again, I'm gonna say it like this: Nick Casario is his own catch-22. He's his own damn if you do, damn if you don't. He's his own, you know, kind of take 2 steps forward and take 5 steps back. He's his own worst enemy in that sense because when he does something good, he'll turn around and do something crazy behind it and make you be like, what the hell? And now you're in a situation where the good that you've done gets kind of outweighed by the bad that you've done as well.
Well, he gets too cute. That's his problem. Like he needs a governor, somebody who's gonna. I'm not gonna say put a leash on him, but somebody who's going to say, "Hey, bro, listen. Like it's okay to do the simple things, right? Everything doesn't have to be GT level math. Like, bro, it's okay. 2 + 2 does equal 4. Like to use Diggs for example. Like I made some content about that, just asking the question: did the Texans mess up by not bringing Diggs back? Hindsight is 2020. No one could have saw, except God himself, could have saw what happened, for Diggs at 31 years old after an ACL tear. The man recovered after 9 months in time for a 3-year contract. But it's just the fact that, yeah, you look like a genius after voiding his years basically and making it a 1-year deal. But on the other side of that is like, well, dang, man, like you could have had that guy if you would have just held on to the gift of the years that you had. Like, and you wouldn't have to have been in a situation with Christian Kirk, right? So that's just the thing. Like it's when he gets cute, those are the things that come back to bite you. And now you're watching guys like Stephon Diggs in the Super Bowl, and you're at home. People can't help but to make those connections. So in that case, yeah, Casario's problem is he gets too cute.
Right. Again, I'm gonna say this. Stephon Diggs, because the plan originally was to bring Stephon Diggs back, but he goes and he tears his ACL. It's not financially sound to spend when you just paid Nico Collins to spend another $20 million on a Stephon Diggs, who, like you said, is 30 plus years old with a torn ACL, and you don't know how he's going to come back from it. When he wasn't the same type of player, even now, he's not the same type of player that he was 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 6 years ago, however many years ago when he first, got to Buffalo and what he was doing in Minnesota. So just things like that is just like he, does certain things and then it's like, damn, he didn't trade. I would say a knock against him is that he didn't trade Larry Tunsil when he should have traded him. He should have traded Larry Tunsil years before that. Larry Tunsil should have been traded before CJ Stroud touched ground. And you could have double dipped
Hell
and
no.
got you.
Brandon
Hell
just mentioned bringing back Brevin Jordan immediately and pay Kirk. Well, the thing, look,
Hold on, no, we're not about
those
to.
are small
Hold on,
moves.
whoa. We're not about to give up what the 80 just fucking said. You said give up Larry Tilson before even CJ got here.
So again, now I'm talking about like that off season before the draft. Make the trade.
Nah, you're not about to get a
Let me
they
finish.
get who? Let me
finish. Wasn't it a left tackle in that draft? Wasn't it a good one in that draft? Not Paris Campbell, but it was another one in that draft, right?
Was this last draft?
No,
You're not
brother.
getting a franchise quarterback without having a left tackle, like having some O lineman there. Like it doesn't make sense as a GM to get like you.
First
I
of
get the
all,
year after CJ.
first of all,
I get
EXO. Who was who? First of all, again, I'm talking about transition. At the end of the day, your plan was because teams. First of all, it's a multitude of teams that draft their quarterback and don't have a franchise level tackle. Like they do it all the time, and it's teams. Honestly, it's teams
no.
right
It's not
now.
franchise left
It's in
tackle.
the
It's
Super
just
Bowl.
a lineman. It's
Then
a
you one
lineman,
Titus Howard on this roster. Was he what or was he not on and still on this roster?
and he wasn't the tight end that we know now.
He was
So again, it was
first
a
of
lot of
all
question marks going into that season, and so to
okay.
say to give up your biggest period mark, your biggest exclamation point, like at least I got Laramie before you get your attack, like it doesn't make sense. That's my only pushback today. Like it didn't make sense just to give up Laramie
Well,
before
I
we got
think what
CJ.
EXO, I think what Eddie may be trying to say, this is what I read into it, is not just removing a tonsil, it's the
No,
reshaping of the
I get what 80's saying is that it was a
yeah.
perfect time, and if you're
And
gonna rip
get
the
and
band-aid
guess
off, rip
what?
the band-aid,
What do
and
you
I
think
get that. I just
If
push back
Titus
on
didn't
yourself.
have if Titus didn't have Tunsil, if Titus got rid of Tunsil that early, right? Because he already was with Tunsil too long, which shaped how he performed and how he operated because it was too Tunsil's influence was too much. And it created a a atmosphere in that in that O line room. And honestly, the trade is for the better, right? I'm saying at the time, if you would have traded Tunsil, you could have got the picks that you traded for Will Anderson. You could have used those picks to trade for Will Anderson and kept the picks that you already had. You get what I'm saying? You see how people were saying, "Oh, you could have took Jameer Gibbs and you could have did this and whoop de whoop de whoop." You could have got 2 first-round picks for Tunsil then, and you could have used that capital instead of using your own. And you could have got CJ, you could have got Will, you could have got Jameer Gibbs, you could have built the whole damn offense. Then use the next pick the next year and get you another tackle. Look, and here, Barrett,
I just
I'm
gotta
right here,
push back
Barrett.
against that
Barrett, I'm
shit.
right here.
I,
This is exactly what I'm
I
talking
got
about.
I gotta push back against that shit,
He
dog.
said
You
you should
know,
have traded Tunsil the moment Watson was traded. Value was the highest. We replaced Tunsil with a project just fine. That's what I just said. That was that off season. That was
that
that
was
off
not that
season.
off season. That was
Bro,
not that off
we
season.
had just traded Watson.
You said the year before we got CJ, like the year we got the job going to this getting CJ. You said
No,
we
no,
should
no,
have gave
no.
Tunsil. We
At the
should have
end of
gave
22.
Tunsil.
At
Because
the end
we,
of
we
Nah,
traded
you
Deshaun in
said that
22.
before we get CJ. No. You said before
yes.
we get CJ, and so that's not right. I Watson here. That's 2 years
You
after.
talking
2 years
about
after.
no, it's not no two
Hey,
years.
we,
What
we
the hell
still
you
got stay
talking
we
about?
still got we still got to stay on topic, guys.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
again,
Let's
I'm
Let's
get
just
on
not go
top.
down.
But we can wrap this up in a second. I'm saying the
Yeah,
year
let's
we
not go
got
down that
CJ,
road.
it wasn't immediately after this old boy left.
it was the following year. We held on to the Sean for a whole year, XO. What are you talking about?
Oh,
You
he
forgot?
sat for you.
You forgot?
Yeah, he said he forgot to sat for you.
Yeah, yeah. We held on for a whole year. I'm like, what you talking about? That yeah, okay. So now we're on the
He
same
said
page, right?
22. He said 23. Or not 23, 22.
No,
No.
Deshaun said in 21,
No,
traded in
21,
22.
right? Right.
At the end of that season, I'm saying you could have traded Tunsil. First of all, Tunsil had sat out that year anyway. Do you not forget? Do you not remember that? For a finger.
The last six games, I believe.
He basically, yeah. It was more, I feel
He
like he
didn't
sat
sit
out
out for
more
the
than
whole
that.
year.
Yeah. So AD
No,
is saying it
he
could have been
got
a
hurt.
package
He
deal
got
of a
hurt.
trade.
That my point is that
I don't know about that.
off season, you could have traded Tunsil and got the picks, like Barry was saying, it was the highest value for Tunsil, and you could have used that capital to go back and get Lam and then get Will Anderson, and you still could have held all your picks that you had before. And you wouldn't have touched any of that, and you could have built revamped your whole roster again with nothing but young talent. Is my whole point. But
Young
again,
boys.
that goes back to the missteps and all these different things with Nick Casario. And see, we are talking about the negatives that Nick Casario did, Jules. Nobody's grandstanding and waving a flag for Nick Casario.
Didn't say
It's
you
just the
did.
point.
I just
You
say you
have to
made
paint the
excuses.
picture.
I just say you made some excuses. I ain't say you wasn't. Don't
But
don't
you
don't go there.
but you gotta paint the
Talk. No,
picture.
no.
Hey, Jules,
I
You a
got you.
funny nigga, Jules, because guess the fuck you just did. You did.
No.
What the fuck
I
are we talking about?
So
okay.
But again,
all so
I still got to get pushback. But we can move the conversation forward. But I still get why GM not letting like that type of player off just that willy nilly when they know they're about to get a franchise quarterback or what assume they're about to get a franchise quarterback.
and
But
let
I
us not
get what
forget.
y'all saying. I get what y'all
But
saying about hey, fuck it. If we
but
gonna go this route, go this route. But just you gonna have a very young line with the biggest veteran being a at the time immature Titus Howard.
so again, mind you, Titus Howard at that point in time had already been in the league 4 years.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um,
He's still, like I say, he was immature.
so
To y'all's point about how Larry Thompson's influence was getting on him. He was immature at the time, putting out tweets saying, "Oh, I was supposed to be this guy. We were supposed to be the O line." But like,
so
yeah. So at that time, he was immature.
I'm gonna say this though, and Clayton brought it up earlier is that there needs to be, or Jules, maybe you said it, there needs to be like a control person or somebody that can kind of block some of the things that could have, should have been done, right?
That was
Um,
Clay.
and so I would say that that person has stepped up, and that person is very, very prominent now, and is making a impact in how the Texans franchise is run. And that person is 5 foot nothing, um, black, thin as a pencil, black hair, strong willed, Hannah McNair. Hannah McNair is that stopgap. Hannah McNair stopped the Texans from passing on a quarterback, period. Which I think at that time you would have lost the whole fan base. And I'm just being honest. And I don't know if y'all agree, but if you pass on the quarterback, Jules, you let me know if you would have passed on the quarterback in 2023 and not taking one in that first round, do you think the Texans would have lost the fan base?
I think 95% of it would have been upset.
So that goes back to the course correct because let us not forget Nick Casario, main person and main player he's always wanted, and we will always forever want is Will Anderson, and that was the pick. It was it was draft day movie all over again, and it was Vontae Mack for Vontae Mack was Nick Casario's guy, and that was Will Anderson. But let's go on to D'Amico and his faults and have an honest conversation about D'Amico Ryans and his lack thereof choosing the right coaches on the offensive side of the ball. Um, I'll start. D'Amico Ryans coming in as a coach. Why did you accept the coaches that were already here and allow them to be on your staff? And again, if you bringing in your friend, why didn't you allow him to pick his staff? And that goes for both OCs. Is that neither OC has been able to pick their and choose their own staff. And that goes back to D'Amico. Why is D'Amico not allowing that to happen? And why is he so gung ho on the people already in the room? The McDaniels, who was here before he got here. Um, Danny Barrett, who was here before he got here. Some other assistants, Gerard, who was here before he got here. Why was he so comfortable with those guys without vetting them and finding other replacements for them or allowing Bobby Slowick to pick them or then in turn allowing Nick Caley to pick them? That is a major fault in D'Amico Ryans. D'Amico Ryans just can't get right at all when it comes to the offensive side of the football. And I think he needs to find somebody that he can trust to run it.
Well, this is why I don't. We done. D.
Go ahead. I'm letting
Oh,
you
yeah.
go.
This is why I was pushing for former head coaches, preferably, who could slot in as offensive coordinator, because D'Amico Ryans has grown over the course of going on now 4 years now. He's learned he's had to step back and coach his coaches, as you're saying, right? Cool. He's getting it. He's found success in spite of himself, right? Which a lot of the all-time greats do. That's it kind of has to happen that way for you, right? Um, Having said that, that's why I push for head coach experience offensive coordinator to help fill in those gaps along the way that D'Amico Ryans inevitably would have. Um, but to your greater question about the who's and the whys of it, I mean, this is partly, and I can speak for a lot of people when I say this, but I'll speak for myself. This is probably why there's still a little bit of distrust for the Texans as an organization, right? Like the meme, you don't let them know your next move. I think of the Texans in that regard. I think of the Jets. I think of the Browns. I think of heck the Dolphins now. I think of a bunch of teams, and the Texans are right there smack dab on that list of teams that like they just don't do the conventional things well. Like they always have to be doing things in such an abnormal way. Even this successful run that they've had right now is majorly in spite of themselves, right? In spite of conversations like this, where you fire a first year OC. Well, no, I'm sorry, you fire a new OC to the game of football, right? And you have everybody riled up for the offseason thinking about Stroud's development, where the team can go, and you backdoor that with another OC who has to learn himself while also having to develop a quarterback at the same time. These are the things that just don't make sense objectively if you're talking about trying to make the next step. So this is why with the Texans as an organization, you just add that into the bushel of things that just don't make sense in how they operate. Um, and I don't know. It's one of those things where I've questioned: is it D'Amico just looking for somebody who's like more likable guy? Is it I know Jules is doing is it D'Amico just wants people who are more they can play well with others, right? Because I'm still of the mindset that yes, Bobby Slowick, he brought a lot of problems with his lack of being able to adapt. Sure, I will give you that. But CJ Stroud's best year came with his man, in spite of being new to the job, right? So it's like, is it a vibes thing? Is it you want likable people? Is it you want people that you know? Is it people with nice smiles and good attitudes and can work well with others? Or are we looking for people who can do the job? And that's where I'm at. Forget what everybody else is talking about. I want people who are effective, who are qualified, and who can do the job that has not already been done. I don't need to be working with my best buddy for me to be effective at my job.
I
That's
agree.
not my job, right? Like that's not what I need, and that's a big problem in today's sports world. Is everybody wants to be buddy buddy with who they work with? Man, back in the day, bro, Michael Jordan punched teammates in the face as they were three-peating. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm just saying it's a different era, and it's like I look at Amico, and for all the great things he's brought to the team, this is the one glaring thing that if you follow the breadcrumbs, if he'd have just even if you give him Bobby Sloyd, if he or whomever had just hired somebody who was more than qualified for the job, we're not having conversations. And even now, I'm sorry, I would have been fine if they would have went away from Kaylee because you had a market flush with much better upgrades. Mike McDaniel, Mike McCarthy, not Hackett. I don't know how the heck he keeps getting out there, but all these guys who fit the bill of like innovative and head coach experience, OCs with an established system that they can offset the multiple OCs in a truncated space for CJ because they're just excellent at their job. I would have been fine if they moved away from Kaylee for this, not for another new guy, but they haven't done that, right? And now you got the Chargers with Mike McDaniel and Justin Herbert. Now you got Eric Bieniemy back with the Chiefs. Now you got the Kafkas and you got Nagy's. Like you got all this movement and Mike McCarthy, the head coach in Pittsburgh, and you're doing the same thing again. So it has to work, but it reeks of you want to look smart instead of actually being smart. So I think that's kind of where I'm at with D'Amico and as the Texans as a whole. I just get sick of seeing moves where it's rooted in you want to look one way instead of actually doing that. And it's yeah, man. I don't have an answer. Those are just my guesses for it. But that's the one blind on D'Amico's record is you just don't have guys who are qualified or who are qualified like he is, and that's the quandary. His coaching is here, and everybody else is like middling down here, and I just don't get why we can't fill in those gaps.
I mean, like you said earlier, the Nico got here. His main hire was Burke, correct? Burke was
Yep.
experienced. There is no experience on this offense side of the ball for years, and we keep doing and they keep doing the same mistake. I don't know if it's Nico or D'Amico or it's on Caselli. It's something in the organization that they are tanked onto the guys they have, and there's not a great coach among the offensive coaches in 4 years, five
Well,
years since he got here. There's not, and I'm the biggest Bill O'Brien hater in the world. I would prefer to keep Bill O'Brien at this point. Somebody who know how to coach offense. That's all we're looking for. Someone who's proven they know how to coach offense. And nobody on this staff shows they are very good at their job. Everyone that said, "Oh, they have potential," "Oh, they look the part," or they been around enough," or this, or we're gonna keep the same guys over and over again and not find the best guys. So if you can say D'Amico, you could say Nick Casario, it is a organization problem with that offense side of the ball.
is it an organization problem? Because when, like, I'm being honest, like, this is the first time that the Texans have had a defensive coach in as the head coach since Dom Capers,
I mean, the last 5 years,
and even in the, I mean, David Culley was an offensive coach, right?
he no, he was a position coach.
But he was a on what side of the ball was he a position coach?
He didn't know offensive drills half the time. Yeah,
Well, he was offensive leaning.
No,
yeah.
that's what I'm
He
just
was he
saying. But
he didn't know what to do on when
Jules, this Black History
sides.
Month, you're not about to sit up here
I'm
and
if you gonna put me out there, I'm a slam dunk it. This dude who's been coaching for 19 years didn't know what the defense side of the ball was doing half the time. Don't go there. Don't already piss me off already. I'm already pissed off. Don't tell me don't do a black man that you gonna give me a layup. I'm a slam dunk the shit out of it.
Look, the fact remain. Look, if we just keep it on the facts objectively, and I like that Jules said it. I didn't think about it. Matt Burke is highly experienced. Came from a team had already done something. I'm just saying.
how was he highly experienced?
I'm saying in comparison to who? Like all I'm saying is by comparison. That's all we're doing. Like the fact is, we're talking about guys. Okay, take Holly off. We're talking about guys who have been in the league at least. Like investment is different from defense to offense. And then Brandon kind of said it with the Ram scheme joke. Somebody posted this and said that out of all the McVay tree guys, you got the one dude that kind of looks like this right now. Right? I know this isn't a finished product,
Mhm.
but I mean, look at all the branches from that tree. Kevin O'Connell, friggin' Jules, help me out. You got Kevin O'Connell, you got Matt, both of the floors.
Yeah,
Right.
both of LaFleur's, both are head, all are head coaches now.
Exactly, all the floors. So
So
again, that's just right now, but you found the one guy with the
Well, no,
Casario
so I
connection.
think none of them called plays though, which is crazy.
so Matt Burke has been coaching defense since 2004.
Right, but how again?
Highly experienced compared to whatever they have done the offense side of the ball as OC. That was the point.
Because Bobby Sloyd was doing PFF a couple years before he was even in San Francisco. So
Again, let me ask you this question: if your partner, you feel like your partner is gonna be good at the job, you're gonna hire your partner.
Not
I'm not
all,
so
not all the
again.
time.
I'm
Not
gonna
all the
say
time.
this.
it's-
I'm gonna say this. I'm not excusing D'Amico Ryans for hiring Bobby Sloyd because I'm giving them I'm putting the emphasis on the whole coaching staff period.
sure.
Meaning you didn't bring in, and even if you're gonna go with this, and it goes the same thing for Kaylee, if you're gonna bring in a guy who's inexperienced, you need to bring in somebody that is experienced to go along with them. There was an opportunity for the Texans to get Cliff Kingsbury, CJ's rookie year, to go with Bobby Sloyd. Even if Cliff Kingsbury was here for a year, I felt like that would have been extremely beneficial for both CJ and for Bobby Sloyd. And that did not happen for whatever reason. Cliff Kingsbury went on, and I don't even think he was an OC anywhere. He just didn't coach that year.
Yeah, he had the year
Um,
off because he got fired from Arizona.
yeah, he had got fired from Arizona, and the Texans could have bumped up the offer to at least make him take the job. Like you don't have to be the OC or whatever, but at least take the job. And the same thing with Nick Caley is that is a lack of emphasis on D'Amico's part when you didn't bring in enough experience to help Nick Caley out. Bring in somebody who can be a consultant that can help Nick Caley along the way. Help him format a game plan, help him format all that instead of having both of these guys learn the job on the fly.
Why just hire a veteran overseas? So you have to hire two people to do a job.
Because right
That's
now,
that's like us asking if you got two quarterbacks, you ain't got no quarterback.
well, the thing about it is that in the moment right now, there's a lot of new OCs. If I'm not mistaken, half the league in right now this year going to have brand new OCs
And
who've never called plays before.
most of them are under a offensive minded head coach.
Again, that goes back. That's the same situation that I'm just saying, Jules.
Right, but you want to do a consultant? Why not just hire a veteran OC so you don't have to have a
But
consultant?
again, what my whole point is that you always want to be ahead of the curve and you want to develop a guy because at the end of the day, you want to be a staff that develops coaches instead of recycles coaches. Unfortunately, and I'm gonna say this, if you would have done the part of bringing a veteran experience with those guys, you would have been able to develop an offensive coaching staff. Meaning that, and this goes back to what I originally said, if Bobby Slowick was able to bring in his own staff and bring in all the coaches that he wanted to bring in, whether they be young, old, whatever, and you bring in a veteran guy on top of that, now the trickle down effect goes in. And once that veteran person goes away, now you become, because I'm gonna say this, Jules, what's the difference of you having a veteran OC that first year and then he does an excellent job, and then the next year he going to go be a head coach somewhere?
As you said, you develop. You know he's gonna
What
bring
what
in.
okay, who okay,
You asked me a question.
go
You
ahead.
asked me a
I'm going with
question.
it.
You know if you bring a veteran OC, he's gonna bring in guys he knows who knows his system somewhat or knows about his system and is gonna coach his system up always. So if he leaves, you already have the guy inside. That's the McVay premise way. That's the
What
Kyle
happened?
Shanahan way.
What happens most times when a veteran OC leaves or a veteran coordinator leaves? What happens to those coaches that are under him?
If he
You
becomes the
talking about,
OC,
and I'm gonna be real with you. If you
you cut
bring
me
in a
off.
veteran OC
You cut me
and
off.
you gonna lose more almost half the staff
But you
on the
keep your
offensive
OC.
side.
But you'll
No,
keep
you
it. You'll
don't.
keep his
No,
OC.
you don't. Because guess
Sometimes
you know how
you no, you're talking absolutes. There's been opportunities that guys passed up to be the OC of the team that his OC left. Yes, it has. AD.
so if you get a veteran OC and he brings in his own quarterback coach, his own running back coach, his own tight end coach, his own wide receiver coach, right? 9 times out of 10,
Not
offensive
nine
line
times
coach,
ten.
right?
Not don't do that.
8 times out of 10, then
No, because it's
more than 50%.
or that's 50 more is more than 10. 9 out of 10. You try to make your point. The point is
The point is,
if the coach if the
if the
OC or the
quarterback
quarterback coach.
if the quarterback coach, which 9 times out of 10, that's norm, that's the progression. You move from quarterback coach to OC. That's how it usually progresses, right? In the offensive scheme. If an offensive OC goes and becomes a head coach, he's taking the quarterback coach with him
Not all
to
the time.
be his OC.
Not all the time.
To be his OC.
Some get
Denver
promoted
just
up.
fired their OC
AD,
because they didn't want to lose a
you
guy to
mentioned
be an
one
OC.
just because you mentioned one of them doesn't mean it's absolute everything. You're making absolutes to prove your point.
Again, look at the offensive coaches that got hired this year that were OCs at other places, right? Who is the quarterback coach in Seattle right now? If you
So
find that out, and that's gonna make my point. I guarantee you, Clint Kubiak is gonna bring that guy in to be his OC, right? Who were the other offensive coaches
So okay,
that got
are we?
hired?
So what?
They
What?
got hired this cycle, and
Where are
tell
we
me
going with this? Where?
if they weren't
Where are we
quarterback
going with this
coaches.
conversation? Where are we going with the conversation?
My whole point is that I feel like it's the same difference. If you bring in a veteran OC or you bring in a veteran presence to coach the OC there, because at the end of the day, if you would have brought in Cliff, Cliff
But what I got to
Kingsbury
do?
would
But
have
what it
left.
got to do with our situation going forward, though?
That's my whole point is that you have to bring in a veteran point. My whole point is that D'Amico Ryans is just as much at fault because you're talking about the coaching. The coaching part of it all on the offensive side of the football, D'Amico Ryans has faltered.
We all agreed, and but
And I'm
so
saying
and
these
it's
are the
not.
options, and these are the same option that you could have done then is the same option you need to do going forward.
But he's
Nick
not.
Caley is still young. Nick Caley is still new to the because you're not firing Nick Caley. It's been widely reported because we're talking
And
about what could have happened and we're talking about what can happen now
the
because Nick
likelihood
Caley
that,
is here.
the likelihood they hire a veteran OC to be a consultant is what?
I mean, it's a good chance.
A good,
You still have plenty of offensive minds out there that are going to be floating around after this cycle is ended of all these OCs get because it was 21 offensive coordinator jobs that changed out of 32 teams. And I'm telling you right now that if a guy like Cliff Kingsbury is still available, right your wrong, D'Amico, that you didn't do the first time,
Yep.
and bring him in.
Yeah.
You don't think that would be beneficial to everybody, including CJ Stroud?
I don't think it's gonna happen. And that's why I
Why
don't think
why
it's gonna
don't
happen
you think it will happen?
because it ain't happened since they've been here. The common sense things don't happen here because they do back to back
And
situations
did
where
you see that?
they don't do it. They just
Did
don't
you
do it. They
see
haven't done it.
did you see what Hannah McNair, her stance on it?
Okay, we're gonna see.
At the end of the day,
I was about to say, I will say,
if Hannah McNair say some things got to
listen,
change,
I
some
will say
things will change.
Hannah McNair, I will say that put Cal to the side. Hannah's the person who looked like she's gonna
Mhm,
knock on your door
mhm.
because when Aaron Wilson at the flag football annual thing asked her, "Hey," and we're 2 weeks removed, right? "Hey, Miss Hannah, how's it going?" Da da da. She looked at the camera and said, "You know what, Aaron? I'm not gonna lie to you. It's still kind of hard to talk about because we should have been there." Like, and she sounded every bit of like, listen, because she's the one who be piping up talking about the Titans. Like, she's the competitive one.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she the owner. So for me, I like that because like, hey man, listen, like you just never know the kind of pressure they're going to put on Casario behind the scenes. They're not going to announce everything, but at the very least, we have an owner, an actual owner who wants to win and who is kind of big, kind of bitter. Got this the taste in the mouth of what happened. And if the owner feels that way, and the draft coming up, and it's basically an all-in season, at the very least, I'll give it to him and say like, hey, at least you got the owners who want to win. A lot of owners don't care that much. Because Hannah ain't for that. She didn't have much nice to say about it.
I'm gonna tell you this: if Cliff Kingsbury is out there, and there's any inkling of the Texans wanting doggone Cliff Kingsbury, I promise you, Hannah McNair is gonna have a say in bringing that man in.
And watch March 11th though. Watch, because the Texans are a team that's notorious for they're the second wave, third wave kind of team. That's like Casario
Mhm.
kind of does. Watch March 11th. That'll tell you a whole lot. If we get breaking news that the Texans swung a big contract on day one, okay, it's go time. This all in time. I feel like that'll
So,
be a huge indicator that maybe Hannah then says something or a couple things.
Well, I'll wait and see.
hey, that's all we can do. We can't do nothing else.
I'll
Because
wait and see.
the Texans don't have the social equity. That's the thing. I agree with Jules. They don't have the social equity to be moving like this anyway. Like they don't. That's why they get killed. They can make the same decisions that a Patriots would make, but because you notoriously do things that just don't work out, ain't smart or self defeating, you don't get the same kind of cachet when you do it. So you got to prove it. It has to work.
Yeah. You got to make something. Something has to change, and again, a lot of tough decisions are going to be made. Um, and I will say this: um, there's going to be some hard conversation. I mean, we have an honest conversations about D'Amico Ryans and the staff now. But if the offensive side of the football doesn't improve, there's going to be a small, not a open flame like on a stove, but there's going to be a little cigarette lighter under D'Amico's behind. Um,
Oh yeah, this year
After
4 out of 6, right?
this
Yeah,
season.
year 4 out of 6. So we're creeping towards the back end of that contract.
Yeah,
So
like it's getting to the point where D'Amico, you've been here like you said, Clayton, 4 years, and
mhm.
you have yet to get the offense right. And then that is detrimental to you as a head coach because that signals you can put all the blame you want to on Nick Casario. At the end of the day, this D'Amico Ryans, like I said before, is the HNIC. And if he's not making the right decisions offensively, bringing in the right coordinators or bringing in the right staff, bringing in the help, anything to help, the offensive side of the football, then now D'Amico Ryans is a problem. Now D'Amico Ryans has a fatal flaw. As good of a great of a head coach he is, that's his flaw right now. Is not being able to identify good offensive personnel, good offensive coaching, and put it in place. That is a fault of him.
And I would say this: it also works against Amico that you do have the bones of a quality offense. You if you squint, you can see some structure here and there. You can salvage this on the back end of Will and CJ's rookie deals, right? Like if they get to the second, well, not Will's case, but CJ's case. Um, you can salvage the second era of the CJ Stroud and Will Anderson time in Tech in Houston, kind of with or without D'Amico. Now the defense is going to suffer absolutely, but in the modern NFL, you got to score. Like defense does still win championships, but offense puts you in position for that conversation to even matter, right? And we saw what happens when you can't do it. So you got the bones of a good offense. That's what works against them too. And they're young, under contract, not going anywhere unless trade requests are made. But nah, you could bring an elite offensive mind in here and he could do something. Heck, even with the roster right now, you can bring one in right now and they probably do wonders. So the Miko got to get it right. Like this is why I say it's an all-in season. Like I don't care what no one else says. From Hannah to Nick to
Mm-hmm.
D'Amico, this is an all-in season. Whatever chips that Nick has not put on the table, whatever D'Amico has not done, everybody has to do whatever that one thing is you have not done. You have to. You have no choice.
Yeah, this is it right now, and because again, not only is it a tough decision, when it comes to the coaching, but it's also like personnel wise, you have a lot of decisions to make.
Yep.
When it comes to CJ Stroud, when it comes to Will Anderson, when it comes to, what do you do with Nico Collins in a year? What do you do with Titus Howard? What do you all these players in this roster bill from top to bottom, you have some tough decisions. And some things have to change because at the end of the day, we should be playing on Sunday.
Right, because we got at least 22 this year and we got a bunch of them next year too.
Yeah, I mean that's the Casario specials, Jules. We've been talking about it for years. Nick Casario special. It's that 1-and-1. The 1 year guarantee. He'll sign a 2 year and a possible like Spades. He'll sign you to a 2 year guarantee deal. You get those 2 years, and that third year you out of there.
Now,
Right.
AD, I'm gonna go back to a point you made a long time ago about Nico Collins probably being up out of here. I think Nico Collins got one more injury riddled season before he might be about it. I don't even know if he's gonna take all that, but I think if Nico is unavailable for another stretch again, yeah, I think you might have to have a conversation about
I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Oh, the
Just
real
like
conversation is him actually fizzing this season.
that's what I'm saying. If he can't, concussion aside, hammy, soft tissue, anything that's been chunk after chunk that's defined Nico Collins' career, kind of sort of, you got to. You simply have to.
so, I'm gonna say this: there's no better time than the present. No better time than the present. So again, Dorsey, hey, nobody's saying who. First of all, who said he's going anywhere? Who said D'Amico going anywhere? That I need y'all to get the selective hearing out of y'all ears, man. Because nobody on this panel, nobody on this podcast said anything about D'Amico Ryans leaving the Texans right now, anytime
Yeah,
soon.
not now. Yeah.
The thing I literally said was that it's not even an open flame that will be placed under him. It's a cigarette lighter, one of them, the little that'll be under his behind if he can't get an offense together.
Only
That's
thing I,
it.
the only thing I would say is if he doesn't, I think Nick Cassell will be fired for him, and I
Oh
think
yeah.
whoever plays Nick Cassell, his job is
Well,
to find the
then in
OC.
turn, yeah, then we'll in turn find an OC, and if he can't get it done, then D'Amico gone. Like it's
Right.
that's the chain
That's
of
the
happen.
timetable.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
happen.
how it happens. Like that's
Yeah.
that's exactly what's gonna happen.
For some reason, Nick Cassell think he's the smartest offensive person on his team.
You don't neither, and that's the problem. Neither one of them. First of all, the Patriots couldn't figure out offense forever. If Tom Brady isn't there, the Patriots probably one of the worst offenses ever in
Oh,
football.
absolutely. And that, but see, that's how they got away with it. And if that's any kind of template for what they tried to do, you can't get away with that with CJ. No disrespect to CJ, but there's only one Tom Brady. There's only one guy with 7 rings on his hand. Could have been 9 to 10 had flukiness not happened. But
Nah,
no, like
Drew Bledsoe was pretty good offensively.
no, nothing against Drew Bledsoe. I'm just saying, like post Bledsoe, Brady was the Patriot way. Like
Yeah.
that has to be said. Then the second thing is this though. The New England Patriots, they are notorious for surrounding Brady, and Brady himself made jokes about it. Like he never had these big body receivers, not for long
He
stretches.
had talent. He had serious, real talent. I would say, one complete year, and in that year, they went 17
Undefeated,
and 0 or 18 and
undefeated.
0
Randy
until the Super
Moss,
Bowl.
What
undefeated.
Nick Cassell was trying to do is the same thing that
They've
Bill
always done.
Belichick did in New England is get O linemen who are not great talented wise, but can play the position well. He doesn't have that same eye as Belichick has.
No,
Well,
and
I
I
Because
mean,
mean,
Matt Light wasn't a highly recruited guy. His O lineman, people can't probably name 3 O linemen he had in the 20 years they were there. But they played well together, and whoever the O line was, and whoever the offensive coordinator, who because he had great OCs almost every year under Tom Brady to coach these guys up to play well. He cannot achieve that with not get great offensive minded players, coaches on his staff. You
yeah.
can't do it the Patriot way if you don't get the great coaches to coach up the offense.
Mm-hmm.
that's all we're saying. You can't skim the process. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it, but you can't skim it. You did it on the defense. Now on offense, it's a disaster. It is. You've grown, but it's like the fairest thing I can say is nobody outside of Houston, Texas saw the hyper acceleration of this team, right? Like they did not sit there and say, "Yeah, man, we're about to go 32 and 32 and 19 over next week." They didn't say that, you
Mm-mm.
know. So the first thing you can say is the rapid acceleration of growth. Some parts of the team hyper accelerated in growth, and other parts just didn't grow. So we're in kind of that phase where it's like you're still dealing with the ramifications of basically being victims of your own success. Bless you. And you're still churning out the pieces that do not fit this new timeline that you now have. That
Mm-hmm.
that this whole 3 years in a row in the playoffs, divisional round timeline, and it's only select few who even meet that thing. So, but the question is, you can recognize it, you can talk about it. Do you have the backbone to make these moves? The Eagles do, the Chiefs do, the Patriots do, and in Houston, we are kind of known for hanging on too long out of sentiment. Like we'll sit there and let all the best of the best go because we like this and we all this stuff, while these other teams are not settling for mediocrity in the name of hey, that's a cool guy right there. The Philadelphia Eagles paid Carson Wentz and then immediately drafted his replacement while on said deal,
Mm-hmm.
and went to multiple Super Bowls and won one of them.
Mm-hmm.
they sat there and paid a couple $1 million more above market value to get Saquon Barkley when the Texans have their number, right? Like these are the decisions that have crippled teams like the Texans for decades, while other teams have feasted because, okay, well, hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You don't want him, I'll take him. You don't want that coach, we'll take him.
So who's at fault for I guess to wrap this session up?
Mm-hmm.
Who's at fault for us having this mentality as an organization?
Both of them. I mean, it's the owners. I mean, it starts from the top.
That's everybody. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's everybody.
it's always from the top. So I mean, you got to look at it. They're finally both. I would say this: 2023 was the turning point of Cal and Hannah McNair turning into
Real
real
owners.
owners. Yeah, and so that was the turning point. Before then, it was just like whatever, whatever. Like
Happy to be here.
When Bob McNair passed away, it was just like a free for all.
Tommy boy.
Yeah, I mean the destruction of the organization happened when Bob McNair died. And you got to realize too that Janice wasn't capable of running the organization during that time. Because she's ill, and God bless her, she's almost on her deathbed herself. Um, so it just was a turning point, and and I think in that same time, Jules, I'll say this too. It wasn't until 2023, if I'm not mistaken, somebody will correct me in the comments, when Cal McNair got officially named like the principal CEO or owner or board of whatever
But
president.
that was last year, wasn't it?
I thought it was year before that.
I thought it was last year.
Okay, I thought it was the year before that, but I think it was already trending in that. I think it just got approved, but he was. I think in 2023 he was already like initiated like as the guy. At
Yeah, I
first,
think I think
it was a lot of discussion, a lot of drama, this and that between him and his brother, and yeah,
his brother had to stop the whatever holding he had on it or claim he
hmm
had it. And once he stopped that, that's when the NFL recognized him as a principal owner.
yeah. And I think it started in 2023 when that process started. So again, I think that's when the tide started to change. But again, a lot of the dysfunction and all that it always starts from the top. And who to blame? You got to blame the ownership. Um, so ownership is finally trying to get it right. Is Nick Casario the best? No. Can my thing is, can we get better? Nobody knows. But at this moment in time, everybody has to be held accountable, from Nick Casario to D'Amico Ryans and even Hannah and Cal McNair. Um, so we'll see what it is going forward. We didn't get to do the mock draft this week, but we will be doing it next week with a little game going on with it. So y'all be there and stay tuned for next week. So we will see y'all. And hopefully this conversation, intensifies along with the haircut that ruined Texans Twitter today. Um, we'll have more conversation about this going forward, because we got a long off season, man. We got another 5 months before we get to training camp, and then we got another 6 months before we get to an actual preseason game. So y'all just hang on in there with us. The Super Bowl is this weekend. I'm gonna ask y'all quick picks who y'all got winning the Super Bowl, and we'll close it out.
I got Seattle, hands down. The only team that beat the Texans on all three levels of football was them. I think they're very soundly built. Um, Sam Donald's playing a hellified last 3 4 games. His offense has doubled in the last couple of games. His defense has gotten better. I don't see New England stopping him.
Mm-hmm. Clayton.
If Sam Darnold does not turn into a pumpkin, okay, that's on the board. The Seattle Seahawks should win by 2 scores. I think they should win and make like a la what they did to the 49ers. I think just 40 piece to a little bit, right? Something like that. Bring the Legion of Boom out there. Bring all of them out there, right? Make it a party. Avenge 2014. That's the tagline.
I'm going to sit up here and say I remember the first time Seattle was in the Super Bowl. Not the first time, but it was that year against the Broncos. Do y'all remember the score of that game?
ugly, a lot too little.
Hmm. I'm riding with that type of game.
Was 55-10?
Yeah, I'm riding with that
A
type of
lot
game.
too a little bit. I want to see it for narrative
I'm
purposes.
I'm riding with that game right now. I'm riding with that style of game. It's not gonna be close, people. It's not gonna be close. It's gonna be so bad after Bad Bunny performs at halftime. Most people gonna turn the TV off. Um, and
I heard one person say on the radio, Chris Gonzalez is playing the best he's played all season. I was like, have y'all watched this man play all season? He
they
didn't play.
had
He didn't play good against us.
people don't watch football, man. People don't watch. They just spew stuff just for narrative purposes and to be right. They hedge on good things. He was he an All Pro this year? I don't even know if he was an All Pro.
No, he was a
Gonzalez,
Pro Bowler,
he
but he
was
was
pretty
He
All
was
good.
a
Pro.
Pro Bowler, but he was an All Pro last year. So
Hmm.
they hedging on him. Was a former All Pro, all that type of stuff.
Well,
So
because I thought it was Stingley and
no,
Tortega
but
last year.
somebody
Gonzalez was second team All Pro.
second team,
Oh,
second
second
team.
year.
So they're gonna play no second team All Pro. I mean, All Pro is All Pro, but
All Pro is All Pro. So, but at the end of the day, man, look, we'll have more to talk about next week. We'll get into the draft heavy next week, starting, and then after, like I promised y'all, after the Super Bowl, we will start the weekly H Town Rundown mock draft that will be posted on a weekly basis. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Y'all go ahead and leave your
Like,
comments and like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments, and we will be back next week. And we will see y'all when we see y'all. Shout out to Clayton. Shout out to Jules. It's your boy Eddie signing off. Peace.
bye. That's so awkward.
Yeah.